world, Cossy here. Welcome to Spoiler Chat for Guardians of the Galaxy. Now this is a new show, tell me what you think of it. I might do this on a more regular basis where when I go and see these comic book movies I can have a little bit of a talk about some of the spoilery things, some of the changes, some of the after credit scenes in a bit more detail, and you are forewarned that these are all going to be spoilers. So you can't complain. My main review should be up and I'll put a link there so you can go and watch that. And obviously there aren't any spoilers in there, but this is all going to be spoilery chat, so you have been warned. Let's start off with the Guardians themselves. Now, the characters seem to be pretty well portrayed in a similar vein to the characters in the comics since the 2008 version of Guardians of the Galaxy came out, and there are some minor tweaks. First of all, Star-Lord, his background is a combination of the Peter Quill from the comics with a little bit of a twist on the Vance Astro character. They even kept the exact same year that supposedly Vance Astro was kidnapped, taken in for in time, in 1988. So we've got that where it's sort of a semi-combination, but it's more leaning towards the 2008 version of the Star-Lord character, which means obviously he is half human and half something, but nobody is sure what. I'm going to assume that they're going to go full on with the fact that he is the son of the king of the Spartanian race, Jason. I'm assuming that it's been a long time since I've read that comic, those comics, so bear with me if I'm a little bit rough. But from what I remember, that's where that comes from. They've changed a little bit of the background of Drax, where he's now actually an alien whose family were murdered by Ronan the Accuser, who's working for Thanos, instead of him being a human who is murdered and his family is murdered, whose soul is put into the body by the Kree, and his whole thing is he wants justice against Thanos, because Thanos in the comics kills them, not Ronan the Accuser. So, towards the end of the film, Ronan is defeated, but you would think, okay, that's the end of Drax's arc, but no, because Ronan was just a puppet, so now he has a problem with Thanos, which then leads back to the sort of original idea from the comics, which is great. Rocket Raccoon seems to be fairly accurate to the way he is portrayed in the comics, and his background as well as being this genetically modified raccoon. He has sort of cybernetic enhancements and all sorts of crazy stuff going on. Same with Groot. I like the fact that they even kept the fact that he only says "I am Groot." The portrayal of Yondu is very different from the comics, where he starts off as this primitive alien who in the far future works with Vance Astro and forms the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's more of a pirate, part of the Ravengers in the movie, although it seems like his power set is similar. It's just more of a different characterization, but it fits in very well with the overall arc and story. And therefore, there isn't a real problem. The portrayal of Ronan the Accuser seems similar to the comics, although the backstory is slightly edited, but no big deal. So I'll say some of the characters just seem to have. There are other ones, but they're the big ones that stood out to me that I can remember off the top of my head. Okay, what about the after credits scene? If you haven't heard already, Howard the Duck is seen in the after credit scene. He's seen earlier on apparently, but I missed it. Someone else told me about it and I went online and checked, and yes, you can see him in the background of a shot where they first go to see the Collector. He is seen and actually speaks. Seth Green does his voice. Very funny, great little cameo, and I don't know about everyone else, but I want to see more of Howard the Duck. I want to see him in more movies, hopefully the next Guardians. I'd like to see it lead to a Howard Duck and Man-Thing movie. I think the character is fantastic. That terrible 1986 movie just sort of did it complete disservice, and now that Disney's behind it, he can even dress a little bit like Donald Duck, which he couldn't do before, which is great, and I'd like to see it. What a lot of people seem to have missed, though, in that after credits scene is in the background was the open cocoon of Adam Warlock. Now, the cocoon was seen in the after credits scene in Thor: The Dark World, and it was completely sealed. But in this scene, it is very clearly open and empty. Now, for me, that is a big deal. Does that mean that finally we're going to get to see Adam Warlock in the cinematic universe? I hope so. He's a very important character to the story of the Infinity Stones and the Infinity Gauntlet. So maybe this is leading to that. Maybe this was a lovely little background thing that was meant to finally be spotted by people who are looking for them, like me. Other things people may have noticed, the use of the Sakarans instead of the Badoons, and the simple thing is Fox have a claim to the Badoon race because of their origins as Fantastic Four villains, and therefore Marvel had to stay clear of them in the same way they did with a certain shape-shifting alien for the Avengers, which is why the Chitauri were used. Annoying as hell, yes, especially because the Badoons are such a huge part of the Guardians of the Galaxy universe, but can't be avoided, unfortunately, unless Fox and Sony suddenly decide that they don't want anything to do with the Marvel franchises they own. We're going to have to expect these kind of changes in the future going forward. Sad, I know. There seem to be some sort of similarities to both the Avengers and other Marvel movies that have come in this phase 2. The most prominent of that is the use of the 12%. Iron Man 3, if you go back, if you watch it and try and find out, it's a bit of homework for you, the use of 12% in that movie, it's similar in this movie, and I don't know, it's just little things like that which make this connected universe so good for the fans of it, and a similar coming together and bonding and team at the end in this movie as you saw in the Avengers. And I think almost to the point where it's sort of not just tipping the cap to, like, look what we've done in space, but one day we're gonna have these two teams together fighting a bigger enemy. Wink, wink. Thanos, maybe. I hope so, because that would be awesome. And obviously they're going along with this whole introducing the Infinity Stones gradually. We've seen the Infinity Gauntlet in the first 4 movies, so we know that it exists in the universe in the same way that the Eye of Augmento's there. So we know that they were planning for all these little nods towards things that could happen or characters that could be introduced way back in phase 1. Fantastic. Overall, there are probably things that I've missed. There are probably other things that you might want me to talk about, but I don't want to spoil the film too much. I wanted to give sort of an overarching discussion of some of the big things, changes, differences, references that can be found in there. Go and see this movie. Tell me all about what you thought and things that you spotted or things that I haven't talked about much in this video in the description below. Make sure you click on the like button, let me know if you like this. Also in the description box you will find a link to my Facebook. Go there and find out what's going on with me and this channel. And until next time guys, au revoir.